right, and human rights issues for what is it, May 6th, 2019, and these are things that come up in top hits for a Google alert that I get into my email box, and the two of the top hits are about Russia allows the possibility of pulling out of human rights convention. You know, why would Russia want to do this? Russia's permanent representation to the Council of Europe, Ivan Zelensky does not want to rule out Russia's withdrawal from the European Convention of Human Rights. And the Council of Europe is, if no compromise is found on the issue of Russia delegation rights in the Council of Europe, will consider the option of further developments, including terms of their foreign implications for both Russia and international relations on the European continent. And this is a country that also, of course, does have, as part of the convention, they institute, are required to institute things to deal with not only human rights but rights for people with disabilities. It would include rights to uncontaminated food and water, housing rights, things like that are required under certain conventions according to the UN, which also brings us to, of course, Canada and accessibility rights that are supposed to be guaranteed under the UN, and Canada is subscribing to this, but when the Disability Act comes out, it's questionable if it will truly be in compliance with all of those things. So there we have it on that particular human rights issue. The other really big one is Caster Semenya, transgender runner. Okay, should athletes be subjected to sex verification in sports? Shouldn't it just be enough that they can compete in the sport because they are a human being and they fit their birth certificate says that they fit the category of that particular gender? Now, transgender, of course, they've had surgery, and that means that hormone changes and things like that have happened, and now who would have been categorized as male becomes female, and vice versa. So, does that really give anybody an advantage or a disadvantage? And should we be looking for that sort of thing as far as that is concerned? This lady, she has broken records while running, and it's come under question if she has an advantage because of her being transgender. So, and what really is going on with human rights under this. Some of the other things that have popped up. About Fairmount, West Virginia, Human Rights Commission is holding its first meeting for nearly 2 years after Human Rights Commission was first talked about in Fairmount, West Virginia. I guess they're finally opening up and having their commission actually talking. Palestinian rights, Palestine, of course, is a real hotbed for human rights. In this particular story, let's see here. Well, basically, in the Middle East, between Israel and Palestine, is how far should Israel be allowed to go through the Gaza Strip with progress and construction and things like that, where they're actually taking more and more land away from the Palestinian people. At what point do we say that one is infringing upon the rights of the other, and should be held back and say, hey, we need to put a hard border here. You cannot no longer cross this line. So that's always been a hotbed for human rights there. Human rights is always a big issue, and we should be basically, as human beings, looking out for each other. Teenagers to speak at the UN on Scotland human rights record. 2 teenagers are set to become the youngest. Okay, why is it doing that? The story's giving me trouble here. Alright. Let's see. E.J. Carroll and Katrina Lambert, both 18, were given evidence on human rights record to the committee on Monday, supported by the Children's and Young People's Commissioners for Scotland and their roles as human rights defenders. The evidence session will inform the committee as it prepares to examine the UK government on Tuesday over where the UK and devolved governments currently failed to meet international human rights. One of the issues, of course, with human rights is making sure that people are being treated fairly, equally, and others aren't getting too much of an advantage. Katrina Lambert from Edinburgh added, having young people at the heart of the UN is absolutely crucial. So we're excited to have the opportunity to address the committee, but we don't want to be the exception to the norm. Children and young people should be included here and in other places of influence. So, and that's Scotland on human rights, having younger people speak out about human rights and other things that are happening in our world, which is probably a good thing. So, all right, so that is the top things that are happening in human rights according to what I have received in my email box as of today. All right, we will talk to you again later. Bye for now.
What's the document? Yeah.